Hi everyone, I'm your host Akil Emmanuel, and I welcome you to the Akil Show. Today in my podcast, I'm going to talk about love at first sight versus love burn. Which type of relationship is better? So today's my special guest. She's from California and her name is Senale. So I welcome Senale to my podcast. Hi,
Hi,
how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity
Of
to
course.
interview you today. So, before I'm gonna ask you some questions related to this topic, I would like you to introduce yourself to my viewers about your family, about your experience here in Hawaii, what your education, and what your culture and tradition in California.
Okay. So as Akil said, I'm from California, specifically San Diego. I'm one of 7 children, and my dad is from Samoa, and my mom is actually from here, Laie. So I grew up coming here kind of a lot. So I would say that's a big part of my culture is the Polynesian culture, and I'm very proud of it. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for
Yeah, of
sharing.
course.
Let's start with the idea of love at first sight. So, my first question is it sounds so magical, doesn't it? You meet someone and instantly you feel a connection, a spark. But is it that really love or attraction? What do you think?
That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, I think that it honestly kind of depends on the person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my thought on it. Hmm.
What you think or what your opinion, the people who fall in love at first sight,
Hmm.
is it really a love or it's like attraction?
I think that initially it might be thought of as love, and that's hard to say because sometimes it is really love, but I think initially it's usually um, a want, an attraction, and
Mm-hmm.
then I think slowly it develops into love. So kind of more of a slow burn, yeah.
All right, does it sounds amazing, but do you think that type of instant connection is enough for a lasting relationship or does it needs more time to grow?
I think it's very much possible. I mean, my brother and my sister-in-law, they kind of experienced that.
Mm-hmm.
They got married only 3 months after meeting each other,
Uh-huh.
and they now have 3 kids and love each other so much. So I think it really is possible, but I think it's rare.
Oh, great point. So while love at first sight can be exciting, it may not always be enough to sustain our relationship long term.
Hmm.
Now let's talk about the slow burn. The idea that love develops gradually over time instead of a spark. It's like a slow growing fire that building up with shared experience and deep emotional connections.
Hmm.
What's your opinion about that?
I think that I agree with that. I
Mm-hmm.
think that love is definitely kindled, and yeah, that's what I think. I think that it's definitely a slow burn effect the majority of the time, that you have to get to know someone to really love them.
Okay, so with the slow burn, it sounds like love grows with each experience,
Hmm.
right? And while it might not feel like love at first sight, it builds on shared moments and emotional intimacy.
Hmm.
Do you think that slow burn relationships are more likely to last?
I do because they get the experiences before just jumping right in. And if we're talking a love at first sight marriage versus a slow burn marriage, probably a love at first sight marriage, you're jumping into it a little bit fast. But with the slow burn, you already know that person, you've experienced some life things with them, and that's one of the main reasons that you love them is because you've had that time together with them.
That's very true. So while the instant spark of love at first sight is exciting, slow burn offers the foundation needed for long term happiness.
Hmm.
Now let's talk about which type of relationship might be better. Do you think is one better than the other for lasting successful relationship?
I I'm not 100% sure because the majority of the relationships I know that have lasted so long are basically half and half actually.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, my grandparents, my papa was in love with my grandma since he
Uh-huh.
was 7 years old.
Wow.
But she never had anything for him until they were seniors in high school.
Yes.
And so I think that for him it was love at first sight, but for her it was the slow burn. And they had been together for almost 60 years before my papa passed. So I think it all just depends. And kind of the same thing with my parents. My dad actually saw my mom here at a BYUH dance and thought, that girl is beautiful and I'm going to marry her one day. And my mom just thought, he's funny, he's cool. And they talked and went on dates, and then my mom ended up falling in love with him. But for my dad, it was kind of like an initial reaction. So I think that it can be a half and half type of thing. But I don't know if I know any relationships that are both were love at first sight.
Okay.
Whereas I do know many relationships that were a slow burn for both.
Gotcha. So if I put you in this situation in the present world, what's your opinion if you put yourself in the situation where somebody fall in love with you at first sight, or you prefer to go in a slow mood? What do you think about it?
So I actually am in a relationship right now, and it's a pretty slow burn relationship. We both had interest in each other when we first saw each other, but I wouldn't say it was like a love at first sight. And over the years, we've grown closer. And like you said, the experiences with slow burn helps you to love that person more and more.
All right. So how long you been dating or in relationship?
4 years.
Wow.
A long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Since high school.
Wow. So it's I believe like if there is love, you don't have to be in rush. Because well, I think like I met many people in my life because I'm a traveler and I'm also a sales and marketing person.
Yeah.
So I interact with so many people in my life, and I feel like love not ends by time.
Yeah.
It's actually grow by times.
Yeah.
But attraction is fade away by time. So sometime it happened with the couples, and I'm not saying that with every couple,
Right.
but in person, like if we talk about the percentage, like mostly couples or youngsters in our age group, they fall in love with people so easily.
Yeah.
And they start consider it like this is love, and then they try to be in rush after dating, just try to be married.
Right.
And after 6 months or a year or 2 years spent together, then they both realize that was not love.
Yeah.
That is attraction, because their goals and their thinking, their plans are different. And then they got separated. So
Sad.
yeah, so I feel like sometimes when you tell your story to people, like you've been dating or been in relationship for 4 years, 3 years,
Yeah.
and the people who heard that, they were like, wow.
Yeah. So some people are like, aren't you married yet?
Yes, but I feel like the people who are actually in that situation, who give time to each other,
Yeah.
they actually try to understand more each other, and then they think that, are we really willing to get married?
Yeah.
Like especially the people who fall in love in their high school, on that time they don't have any future goals or
Right.
financial stability, so they focus to be financially strong and then get married, right? That's why those people have a long relationship
Right.
comes, because they start dating each other from high school or during that young age, and then they start focusing to build their career, education and all, and then they think that now it's the time to get married. So I really like your story. It's
Yeah.
interesting. Do you like to give any advice to our viewers about this topic?
I would say that whether it's love at first sight or whether it's slow burn that you experience, just embrace love. It's a beautiful thing, and it's what Heavenly Father wants for us. So that would be my advice.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your insight today.
Yeah.
And I really love your conversation, and I'm happy to hear your insights. I'd like to thank you to come to my podcast and share this insight with our
Thank you for
viewers.
inviting me.
I'd like to thanks to my viewers for listening to the Keel Show and listening to our podcast. I hope like this podcast helps you to understand difference between love at first sight and slow burn. Guys, life is so beautiful, and I believe like you have only one life. So don't ruin your life by just keeping things like in fast track. Like love at first sight is important, but it's also about your personal revelation prompting as well. Sometimes we do have prompting and we feel that that's a love, but for the other person it's not actually love, right? So you have to be patient and don't take personal if that you have some personal prompting for somebody and you go and approach, and after spending a time that person feels like no, we are not compatible to each other. So don't take it as personal that love at first sight mean that you have attraction. Sometimes you have personal prompting and sometimes you have to approach the person to express your feelings. But I will suggest you, that's what my opinion. I'm not saying that you have to follow, but that what my opinion is, go with the slow track. Try to be humble, try to understand the situation. If you want your life to be happy, but still it's a free agency, you can do
Right.
what you like to do. Thank you so much for watching our podcast. If you like to ask any questions or comment, and we would love to answer your comments, and you can like my channel and subscribe my channel. Thank you so much for watching once again. Have a good night. Take care. Bye bye.